Right now, as you're watching this, your body is having a conversation with you. It's whispering secrets about your emotional state, your stress levels, even your deepest fears and unexpressed truths. But here's the thing, most of us have forgotten how to listen. Think about it. When you're nervous, where do you feel it? Your stomach. When you're overwhelmed, where does it show up? Your shoulders. When you're holding back words you need to say, where does the tension live? Your jaw. Your body is constantly broadcasting information about your inner world, and unlike the stories we tell ourselves in our minds, your body never lies. Welcome back to the path of awareness. I'm your guide on this journey of inner discovery, and today we're diving deep into one of the most profound yet overlooked sources of wisdom you carry with you everywhere. Your physical body and the messages hidden in your tension patterns. For thousands of years, mystics and healers have understood something that modern science is just beginning to rediscover. The body is not separate from consciousness. It is consciousness, expressing itself in physical form. In traditional Chinese medicine, they call it the body-mind. In yoga philosophy, it's the concept that every emotion leaves an energetic imprint in our physical form. But you don't need ancient texts to verify this. You've experienced it countless times. We even have the language for it embedded in our everyday speech. Butterflies in your stomach, gut-wrenching fear, carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, getting something off your chest, pain in the neck. These aren't just colorful metaphors, they're accurate descriptions of how emotional and psychological states manifest in physical form. Here's where it gets interesting, and a bit tragic. We live in a culture that's taught us to override our body's messages. Headache? Pop a pill. Tight shoulders? Push through it. Exhausted? More caffeine. We've essentially told our most intimate advisor to keep quiet while we make decisions with our overthinking minds. But your body hasn't stopped talking. It's just been forced to speak louder. That chronic neck pain? That recurring stomach issue? That tension headache that shows up every Sunday night? These aren't just inconveniences, they're your body's equivalent of sending you urgent emails in all caps. The irony is that we live in an age where we're more disconnected from our physical selves than perhaps any generation in human history, yet we have more knowledge about the body-mind connection than ever before. We know that stress affects every system in the body, that trauma gets stored in tissue, that emotions have biochemical signatures. But knowing and living this wisdom are two very different things. What makes this truly revolutionary for your spiritual journey is understanding that every area of tension in your body corresponds to specific emotional patterns and life themes. It's not random. There's an elegant intelligence to where we hold our stress, and learning to read this language transforms you from a victim of mysterious aches and pains into an active participant in your own healing and growth. Your shoulders, for instance, are where you literally carry burdens. When they're chronically tight, your body is asking, what responsibilities am I carrying that aren't truly mine? What am I trying to hold up in my life or others' lives? The Sanskrit word for shoulders, skanda, also means aggregate or heap. They're designed to carry, but they're also where we pile on more than we can handle. Your jaw is where you hold back your truth. It's your capacity to bite, to speak with power, to set boundaries, to digest difficult experiences. Chronic jaw tension often points to words you're not speaking, boundaries you're not setting, or authentic expression you're suppressing. In many wisdom traditions, the jaw is connected to the throat chakra, the energy center of truth and communication. Your neck is the bridge between heart and mind, between feeling and thinking. When it's tight or painful, it often indicates a disconnect between what you know in your heart and what you're telling yourself in your head. You're literally caught between two different ways of knowing. Your lower back, this is your foundation, your support system. When it aches chronically, your body might be asking, Where in my life do I feel unsupported? What structures in my life need attention? In many traditions, the lower back is associated with survival issues, money concerns, and our most basic sense of safety in the world. The beauty of this system is that once you understand the language, every sensation becomes a doorway to deeper self-knowledge rather than just something to medicate away. Think of your body as having an emotional geography, different regions that hold different aspects of your inner experience. Ancient traditions mapped this intuitively. The chakra system, for instance, isn't just mystical poetry. It's a practical roadmap to understanding where different qualities of energy and emotion concentrate in the body. But you don't need to memorize Sanskrit terms to use this wisdom. Your body speaks a universal language that transcends cultural boundaries. The upper body, head, neck, shoulders, chest. This is where we typically hold mental and emotional stress. It's the realm of thoughts, worry, social anxiety, and heart matters. When someone says they're in their head or overthinking, you can literally see it in the tension patterns of their skull, temples, and forehead. The core, your belly, solar plexus, lower ribs. This is your power center, your sense of personal will and digestive capacity. And we're talking about digesting more than just food here. It's your ability to process life experiences, to stomach difficult situations, to have the gut strength to make tough decisions. The lower body, hips, pelvis, legs. This is your foundation, your connection to earth, your primal creativity and survival instincts. It's also where we store our deepest emotions and our most primitive responses to threat and safety. Let me share some of the most common tension patterns and their typical messages. The shoulder fortress. When your shoulders are perpetually raised, you're in a subtle state of bracing for impact. Your body is saying, I'm ready to defend, but I'm exhausted from always being on guard. This pattern often develops in people who've taken on the caretaker role, who feel responsible for others' emotions, or who grew up in environments where they had to be hypervigilant. The jaw of unspoken truth. Jaw tension is fascinating because it literally represents our capacity to bite, chew, and speak. When chronically tight, it's often holding back words that need to be spoken, truths that need to be acknowledged, or anger that hasn't found appropriate expression. Many people clench their jaws at night, literally grinding through the emotions they couldn't process during the day. The heart armor. That feeling of tightness across your chest, like you're wearing invisible armor. This is your heart's way of protecting itself from feeling too much. It develops when we've been hurt and decided that staying open is too risky. The chest becomes a fortress, but fortresses, while protective, also keep us isolated from the very connection we crave. The belly brain. Your stomach holds what the Japanese call hara, your center of power and intuition. Chronic stomach tension often indicates you're not trusting your gut instincts or you're trying to digest experiences that are too big or toxic for your system. It's also where we hold our deepest fears about survival and safety. The hip vault. Your hips are where you store unexpressed emotions and creative energy. They're also connected to your sense of flexibility in life. Hip tightness can indicate fear of change, holding on to old emotional patterns, or suppressing your natural creative and sexual energy. In many traditions, the hips are seen as the storehouse of the soul. The neck bridge. Your neck is the bridge between heart and head, between feeling and thinking. Chronic neck tension often indicates internal conflict. You know one thing in your heart, but you're trying to convince yourself of something else with your mind. It's the physical manifestation of being torn between two different ways of knowing. Here's what's profound to understand. Chronic tension patterns aren't mistakes or flaws in your system. They're intelligent responses to your life circumstances. Your body has organized itself around the emotional and psychological demands of your experience. If you grew up in a chaotic household, your shoulders learn to brace for unexpected stress. If you had to suppress your authentic expression to stay safe or loved, your jaw learned to clamp down. If you experienced betrayal or heartbreak, your chest learned to armor itself. These patterns served you at one time. They were survival strategies that got you through difficult circumstances. But what was once protective can become prison when it outlasts its usefulness. The same muscular armor that protected you as a child might now be preventing you from experiencing the intimacy and aliveness you crave as an adult. This is why approaching tension with curiosity and compassion rather than frustration and resistance is so crucial. You're not trying to fix something that's broken. You're updating strategies that once served you but are no longer necessary. Now let's dive deeper into one of the most profound aspects of body wisdom: your nervous system as a guidance system for spiritual growth. Most people know about fight or flight, but there's actually a third state that's crucial for seekers to understand. What researchers call social engagement, or what I like to call open awareness. This is when your nervous system feels safe enough to be curious, creative, and connected. Here's what's fascinating from a spiritual perspective. You can only access higher states of consciousness when your nervous system feels fundamentally safe. All the meditation techniques and spiritual practices in the world won't work if your body is stuck in survival mode. Your nervous system is constantly scanning your environment and your internal state, asking the most fundamental question of existence: am I safe right now? And it communicates its assessment through your body. When you're in fight or flight, you'll feel it as tension, shallow breathing, racing heart, or that subtle sense of being wired and ready for action. When you're in shutdown mode, you'll feel heavy, disconnected, foggy, or emotionally numb. But when you're in that sweet spot of open awareness, something magical happens. Your body feels relaxed yet alert, your breathing is naturally deep, and you have access to curiosity, compassion, creative insight, and what many traditions call beginner's mind. Learning to read your nervous system state is like having an internal compass that can guide you toward the conditions most conducive to growth, healing, and spiritual insight. Your breathing is one of the most reliable indicators. When you're in survival mode, breathing becomes shallow and high in the chest. When you're in open awareness, it naturally deepens and moves lower into your belly. Your heart rate variability. The subtle variations in the time between heartbeats is another key indicator. When you're stressed or activated, your heart rhythm becomes more rigid and predictable. When you're in a state of coherent calm, there's a beautiful, flowing variability to your heart rhythm that actually syncs up with your breathing. Your muscle tone tells a story too. In survival mode, your muscles are subtly braced and ready for action, even when you're sitting still. In open awareness, there's a quality of relaxed alertness. Available but not tense, present but not effortful. Even your mental state reflects your nervous system condition. When activated, your mind tends to race with worst-case scenarios, problem-solving, and strategic thinking. When in open awareness, your thinking becomes more spacious, creative, and able to hold paradox and uncertainty without immediately needing to resolve it. Here's why this matters for your spiritual journey. Your body's state determines what's possible for you in any given moment. When you're in survival mode, you're cut off from higher brain functions, from empathy, from creative problem-solving, and from the kind of expanded awareness that spiritual traditions point toward. But when you can recognize your state and gently guide yourself back to open awareness, you create the optimal conditions for growth, healing, and awakening. This isn't just feel-good philosophy. It's based on solid neuroscience. The mystics of every tradition have understood this intuitively. They developed practices, breathwork, movement, chanting, meditation, ritual, not as ends in themselves, but as ways to regulate the nervous system and create the inner conditions for transcendent experience. When Jesus spoke of becoming like little children to enter the kingdom of heaven, he was pointing to this state of open, curious awareness. When Buddha talked about right mindfulness, he was describing this same quality of relaxed, present attention. When Sufi mystics whirled themselves into ecstatic states, they were using movement to shift their nervous system into expanded awareness. The profound implication is that spirituality isn't separate from biology. It's the natural flowering of a nervous system that feels safe enough to open beyond the narrow focus of survival into the vast expanse of interconnected awareness. Everything we've explored today points to a profound truth. Your body is not just a vessel that carries your consciousness around. It is your consciousness, expressing itself in physical form. Every sensation, every area of tension, every shift in your breathing or posture is your soul speaking to you in the most intimate language possible. But awareness alone isn't enough for transformation. The real alchemy happens when you begin to work with your body's wisdom rather than against it. When you stop seeing tension as the enemy and start seeing it as a teacher. When you stop trying to think your way through emotional challenges and start feeling your way through them. This is what the ancient alchemists were really talking about when they spoke of turning lead into gold, transforming the dense, stuck energy in your body into the flowing gold of conscious awareness. It's not about getting rid of difficult sensations or emotions, but about changing your relationship to them. So how do you make this practical in your daily life? How do you move from intellectual understanding to embodied wisdom? First, start doing regular body wisdom check-ins throughout your day. Set a gentle reminder on your phone for every few hours, and when it goes off, take just 30 seconds to scan your body and notice what it's telling you. Where are you holding tension? What's the quality of your breathing? What state is your nervous system in? Second, when you notice tension, instead of immediately trying to fix it or make it go away, get curious about it. Ask yourself, what is this tension trying to protect me from? What does it need me to know? If this sensation had a voice, what would it say? Third, practice the art of acknowledgement rather than resistance. Thank your tension for trying to help you. Appreciate your body's intelligence in organizing itself around your life circumstances. This shift from fighting your body to befriending it is profound in its simplicity. Fourth, learn to read your nervous system state and gently guide yourself back to open awareness when you find yourself in survival mode. Simple practices like deeper breathing, gentle movement, or even just softening your gaze can help signal safety to your system. Finally, remember that this is a practice, not a perfection. You're not trying to become someone who never experiences tension or stress. You're becoming someone who can read their body's signals accurately and respond consciously rather than react unconsciously. The goal isn't to be in perfect calm all the time. That's not realistic or even desirable. The goal is awareness and choice. When you can read your body's signals accurately, you can make conscious decisions about how to respond to life's challenges rather than being at the mercy of unconscious patterns. Your body never lies, but it takes practice to remember how to listen to its truth. In a world that's constantly pulling you into your thinking mind, returning to body wisdom is both a radical act and a homecoming. What we've explored today isn't just about reducing stress or managing tension, though it will certainly help with those things. It's about reclaiming one of humanity's oldest and most reliable sources of guidance: the wisdom of the body. Every indigenous tradition, every mystical path, every authentic spiritual practice recognizes the body not as an obstacle to transcendence, but as the very ground in which awakening takes root. Your body has been your faithful companion through every joy and sorrow, every triumph and challenge. It deserves your attention, your gratitude, and your trust. As you move through your day, I invite you to stay curious about the messages your body is sending you. Notice the connection between your physical sensations and your emotional state. Practice the art of listening deeply to the wisdom that's literally embodied within you. Remember, In a world full of external authorities telling you what to think and how to feel, your body remains your most reliable guide to what's true for you in any given moment. It's your internal compass, your built-in truth detector, your most intimate spiritual teacher. If this exploration resonated with you, I'd love to hear about your own discoveries in the comments below. What messages is your body sending you right now? And if you're ready to dive deeper into the path of embodied awareness, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. We have much more to explore together. Until we meet again on the path, may you walk in awareness, breathe in presence, and trust the profound wisdom of your own embodied experience.